Hello again, it's Monster Forge here with another cheap toy review. I picked this guy up yesterday at uh, Ross. Yeah, I was at Ross. And you can see here, he was pretty cheap, $3.99. Now this is a core class figure, which they're the kind of what replaced the Legends scale for Transformers. The core class is like, these little guys, like the little Optimus Prime here. Optimum Prime. But anyway, this is the Transformers Studio Series Decepticon Mohawk. And this is from Transformers The Last Night, which I'm not a big fan of the live-action Transformers movies, except Bumblebee. Bumblebee is what I felt was the right direction for them to go. I thought it was a fantastic movie, but they kind of abandoned that because they dropped a lot of the things that made Bumblebee good when they made Rise of the Beast, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But I got this guy mainly because he was cheap, but also because I had seen reviews of him. So there's plenty of reviews of this guy. I'm not the first one to the game on this one because this figure is an older figure. But I picked him up because he was cheap, and I figured I'd, give a look at him. But he's a cool little figure. He doesn't really fit in because I don't collect the movie, besides, like the Bumblebee movie toys. I have a bunch of those. But I don't really collect the, I guess you call it Bayverse, the Michael Bay Transformers movies characters. But I always thought this was a cool looking little dude, and any toy that's got a lot of articulation I like, and he does. He's got a good articulation. He was kind of like I remember him, he was kind of like a little crazy, nutso type character. But I always thought he looked pretty cool. Like, he looked sort of like a fish. If you see his head, he's got a fin on it, which is supposed to be a mohawk and all, but he does look like a fish. And he's got little fins on his arm too. So that there's definitely some of that aesthetic to him. I think the design of the character from the movie, it was more like spikes than fins. But the way it comes out on the toy, it looks more like a fin. What's cool is the little guy's got a jaw that opens and closes, which I dig that a lot. You can't quite get him displayed the way he looks with the character design, with the wheels on his shoulders like that. But, they make compromises when they make toys because the movies characters can transform any kind of way. But I think he looks pretty good. I like the little splashes of paint across him, the green paint. I don't know if he has a Decepticon symbol on him. I've looked, and I don't see one. He's got some white. He's got some white on his arms and stuff like that, and some green on his hands, but I haven't found a Decepticon symbol. They might have not had enough room on him to put it. Anyway, so yeah, let's look at the articulation a little bit. He's got a head that's on a swivel, and like I said, his jaw opens and closes. You can kind of, because of his transformation, you can kind of pose his head like this. So like if he's, with a bigger transformer, he can look up to him. and that's kind of the size he is. This is a Voyager class, so he's, I'd say like right around 7 inches or something like that. And he's a little guy. To compare him to something, like everybody knows the size of the Kenner Star Wars figures. So he's at the top of his mohawk. He's the same height as or right around the same height as a regular Star Wars figure, the 3 3/4 inches. But that's the neck articulation that he has. His wheels can move around, so you can pose them however you want. You can have them pointed in, you can have them pointed out, whichever way. They're on hinges, lots of hinges actually, because of the transformation. But you can kind of play with how you want to display them. I like having them up like that. He has a ball joint at the shoulder. He does have a hinge up here, but it's due to transformation, and so you can get that, but the wheels do kind of get in the way. But he has a ball joint, so you can lift his arms up and bring them all the way down, but everything hits this thing in the back here, so that's just one of the limitations. He has a hinge. He has a hinge at the elbow and a ball joint, so it's like a double joint, and also it's a swivel as well because of the ball joint. He has ball joints at the hips, and he has a good range with those hips. He can bring them all the way up, bring them all the way back, and it allows him to go all the way out to the side. He has a hinge right here, which it stops because of the transformation. It has like a little indent, and then you keep pushing it, and you get it to where it's supposed to be for, you know, the character to stand correctly. He has a ball joint here, but it's kind of limited because it's it on the way in, or like on the inside here, it has like a flat part to meet up with this part for the transformation. And I feel like they could have cut a little bit of a divot out right here so you could get some better inward, so you get better stances, wide stances. But I mean, it works okay. You can work with it some, and certainly you can get him to stand up with a little bit of work on the hips and stuff like that. So he can stand on his own. He comes with a knife, which is it's a very Bowie knife looking knife, or like a survival knife. It's a cute little knife, and he can hold it. He's got little tiny hands with claws on his hands, which is really funny. He has a knife and he has claws, but when you're not using it, you can, it's got a little notch in the knife, and it will store right there on his behind, and it kind of hides out of the way pretty well. Pretty neat. But that's the figure itself. So let's take a look at how you transform this sucker. It's a pretty cool transformation. I dig it a lot. So you get the wheels straightened out like this, kind of get room for doing things. And you take his head and just push it all the way back. And his arms, well, he's got that kind of swivel right there, or that hinge right there. And you can get his arms up higher. And what you're going to do is you're going to turn them in, or turn his, I messed up there. Let's see, let me get this right. All right, so when he's like this, there you go. And you just kind of fold his arms up like this and get them ready. And this hinge right here, this arm with this wheel on it, will go forward in front of his face. And you can take let's see, do I have it right? Oh, it goes like this, because there's a peg on the frame for the wheel, and he'll peg onto that, and then there's a little peg there that pegs into that slot. And so you peg it in like that, and you do the same. Oh, come on, let's focus here. And this is one thing with this, because this hinge is really tight, it causes the ball joint to pop off a good bit. So you'll run into that if you have this figure. And that, you know, neatly folds up like that. Pretty cool. But anyway, you get this other one, the other arm with the wheel on it, to swing around to the back there. And then you fold up the legs around this way. And there's some pegs right here on each side, and you'll peg the legs in on each side there. It's not like a really tight peg in there, like they'll slip off, but that's why you've got these legs that fold back like this, and you can pin them together, and then there's a little notch there that fits over that, and you've got a little motorcycle. And that's a cool looking little motorcycle. I don't really know if any figures fit on that. They'd have to have some pretty wide hips, you know, to go around the legs being there. But it's a cool little motorcycle. And when you see it with a 3 3/4 inch figure, it's a little too little for a character to ride on. So it would need a smaller character. I don't have any characters like that. I wonder. Now this figure won't fit on it because he's kind of posed a certain way, but that looks closer to the size of a person riding on. Oh, there you go. Now we win. The Navi win. But his knife, it also has a storage place on the bike in the alt mode, and it will clip on right there. And so it's cool. And as far as rolling goes, it rolls. It's got enough on the sides of the bike there that it doesn't tip over real easy. And so, you know, it doesn't need a kickstand or anything. Now this side, because of the knife, it won't really kick over on that side, but it does kick over on that side pretty well. But yeah, I think it's a cool little figure. Definitely worth the price. I mean, even at the $10 or $11, whatever they are for the core figures, that's not bad. Whoa, I'm a Roadhog. But you know, it's well articulated. It's got nice sculpt. It's a cool looking transformer. It's a cool looking toy. And I don't know. I think it's worth the price of admission, if you will. A $10 price point. And if you can find it at Ross for the $4, you know, the $3.99 that I got it for, even better. But yeah, he's a cool little figure. Go, if you like it, go check out Ross and see if you can find one. They've been getting in. I love Ross because you never know what you're going to get when you walk through that door. It's fun going there every week and just checking to see what came in. But once again, this is and you can kind of see right here. Oh yeah, he also comes with instructions, they're pretty good instructions. Yeah, that's kind of the size he would be with a regular transformer. But anyway, this is the Hasbro Takara Tomy Transformers Studio Series, the Last Night Decepticon Mohawk. Quite a mouthful, but it's a cool figure. Yeah.